Today I've got 7 hotkey topics, keyboard customizations, to allow you to use your keyboard like an instrument to play DaVinci Resolve. Real quick warning, I'm going to go through a lot of hotkeys today. Even though I'm doing 7 topics, each one's going to have lots within them. The hotkeys will appear down here at the bottom of the screen. I'm on a Mac, so Command means Control. Option means Alt. You got to do the translation yourself if you're on Windows. But before we even get to the first section, what I want you to do is turn on the Show Focus Indicators, which basically says, I want a red bar in the panel that has the focus, because each different section of this interface has different hotkeys. That's how in-depth Resolve is. So to do that, to turn on that preference so we can actually see what we're controlling, hit Command, comma, that opens up your preferences. This will be a user preference under the UI settings, and you want to turn this on. It's right here. Show focus indicators in the user interface. Once we've done that, you can see if I click in the timeline area, we've got the red bar right there. If I want to click up in the media pool, you can see the focus is up here. That's what the red bar means. This has nothing to do with something not being rendered. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into our first topic, which is clip selections. Timeline clip selections. So in order to select a clip on the timeline, you got to be focused on that timeline for the hotkeys to work. So we get there with Command 4 will get us down there. And then we place our playhead, or this cursor, this current time indicator, over the clip we want to make a selection of. A common thing would be, let's say we want to mash all our clips down to video track 1. Your colorist is going to love you for that. Once you're over the clip you want to smash down, hit Command down arrow. You can see how it made the orange box selection. And then to actually move it to a new track, you hold Option and then the arrows as well. So Option down arrow will move it to a new track, or move it to the track 1. In fact, if you want to go the other way, you can hold Option up arrow. It moves it to new tracks as well. Let's say we want to mash this one down over here. One way we can get to this without even doing the Command arrow to get into clip selection mode is actually just using Command right arrow, because it's to the right of there, and that will navigate through your timeline to the different clips. So if we want to target that clip that's up there, Command up arrow will get us there, and then Option down arrow will smash it down. Now, another thing that a lot of people aren't aware of is you can actually turn these red selections down here into marked ranges, which is good especially for things like exporting out the deliver page, because you can obey the in and the out points. And the shortcut for that is Shift A. It basically turns whatever the orange selection is into in and out marks. Now, I might not want to just export this single clip like this, but what you might want to do is actually have multiple timelines. This is something I do a lot in commercials, is I would have everything selected down here. I'm going to clear my in and out marks with Option X, Command C, and while a client's in the room, maybe they want see a different version of something. Command V, this gives me another really quick version of something right there on the timeline. And then if let's say we work on this second version over here, and this is what we're actually going to export, but I want to leave this around at least for a little while. Select everything like this and hit Shift A, and that marks the in and out of all of that selected material. Super, super handy. Swap clips with Command Shift, comma, and period is a really quick way to just change the order of a couple clips. So let's say we want this green clip to appear before this purple clip. Let's first focus the timeline with Command 4. That gives us the timeline focus. And then the shortcut we just learned is to make a selection is Command down arrow. We now have that orange box selection. Now we can use that hotkey. It's going to be Command Shift, comma, to go left, because comma is left of period. And you'll see they just swapped the order. If you wanted to reverse it, it would be Command Shift, period. And the other thing that's really cool about this technique is it can actually work with more than one clip at a time to shuffle multiple things around. Let's say we wanted this whole section right here to be moved later in time. Well, you can see I've got lots of it selected. I'm going to hold Command Shift, period, and now we're moving this clip by clip down in the timeline. And I want to point out one last thing about swap clips, besides the fact that you can do it with the keyboard, is if you have the speed editor or the DaVinci Resolve editor keyboard, there's actually keys that are built into this to do this as well. So to do that, it's basically on the editor keyboard. It's I don't use it a lot, but it's the F6 button. If you hold F6 down, that automatically made my selection there, and now I can use the jog dial to move the clip instantly around. It doesn't do that nice little smooth animation, but honestly, those little animations kind of are a little bit annoying. I just want things to move real snappy and fast. So that is swap clips. It's make the selection, and it's Command Shift, period, and comma will move things around in your timeline. Playback, go to mouse pointer is the C key now in the newest versions of DaVinci Resolve. What that means is basically if you move your mouse pointer anywhere on screen, you tap the C key, the playhead jumps directly to that location. Maybe I want to see like right over here. See, that jumps it so that it's queued up, ready for you to play. The other nice thing about this is if you hold down C, it basically allows you to sort of scrub. See, the C is being held down constantly. And it feels a lot like a skimmer sort of deal. Again, this is new. I think it was in DaVinci Resolve 20-something, and the defaults had changed. So if you use a really old keyboard layout, start fresh, and you should be good to go. That is under playback, go to, and then mouse pointer. The power of tilde or tilde, how do you say it? It's basically, it's the key that's right next to the number 1 on the number row of your keyboard. What if you make a mistake? You hit delete on something and everything's gone? Yes, there's Command Z that we know from lots of applications, but that's 2 button presses. Well, the tilde key is 1 button press, and that's also an undo in DaVinci Resolve. So that's one way you can use tilde. A couple other ways that I find really, really useful. One is in the viewer, in the timeline viewer up here, we have this transport control. Maybe I want to change the sizing on something. Let's say this image right here, I want to get the sizing controls right in the viewer. What I would do is hit Shift tilde, and that has just opened up. Let me move this over to the side a little bit so you can see. That has opened up this bounding box so that I can manipulate the viewer. It's basically turned this button on for me. So that's Shift tilde will turn that on and off. Let's say I want to change the framing right there. Shift tilde turns it off. The third use of tilde that is extremely important is for clearing out your Fusion viewers. Let me show you what I mean. I have 2 viewers loaded with different images. This one is not rendered. This one down here is rendered. If I play back, essentially I'm getting not the best playback because it's doing a lot of processing. This is not, a super heavy comp, but there is some stuff going on in it for sure. If I just want to preview one of them that I've pre-rendered with the saver, I've got other tutorials on that. What I would do is render it out, load it back in, and then make sure to clear out the viewers you're not using. Now, just closing it by just viewing what you want to view doesn't do that. You actually do need to clear them out. And it also, just so you're aware, there are an A and a B side buffer to all these. This will clear out both of them. Both are always processing, even if you don't see them. So in this number 1 viewer, this is the one that is a little heavy right now. I'll just hit the tilde key, and then I can close this up and just focus on this one. And look at this, because this is the pre-rendered node that I'm looking at, I'm getting real-time playback. Just know that in Fusion, you actually have 4 viewers, and it's processing all of them all the time as long as there's something in them. So if you want better playback, clear out what you don't need, and you're going to be that much better with using your RAM resources that we have available. Now we're getting into some keyboard customization, the first of which that is the most important to me is insert gap. This allows us to open up a space on the timeline to insert a beat. The way we can get to it is under the edit menu. It's insert gap. It's right there. You see what it does. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to go there every single time. So the way I will set this up as a keyboard hotkey is Command Optional K. That opens up your keyboard customization. We'll search for the word gap, and then it's right here. I'm going to type in G. Now, anytime you mess with keyboard customization, strongly advise you remove whatever the previous assignment was so that you're not having conflicting keyboard assignments. So I'm just making a note here that this is actually normally mark add flag currently selected. Yes, I'm going to assign it anyways. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double click that warning there, that little orange thing. I'm going to come over here where it says that it's set to current selected for the flag selection, and I'm going to click the X, which gets rid of that from this new preset. Now it's going to prompt me to save. You'll see up here at the top, this is the default DaVinci Resolve key set. I'm going to save this, give it a name. I'll call this one CVT tutorial. And now this should work as expected. Now, just as before, we're going to use a keyboard shortcut that we taught just recently, which is undo. So that's the tilde key. Now if I hit G, I don't have to go find it in the menu. In fact, if I undo that again, another little pro tip to this insert gap function is you can specifically say how many frames you want the gap to be by using the number pad. So what I'm doing on my editor keyboard here is, let's say I want a 10 frame gap. I'll hit plus 10 and then hit G, and that has just inserted exactly a 10 frame gap. what I call a beat in editing. Otherwise, what it's actually doing is it's taking your preferences setting under the user for editing, what is it? The still, standard still duration. It's doing a 5-second gap. That's where that number is coming from, I believe. But I find it actually much easier to actually just use the keyboard. So plus 10 frames, G, you got that. Open in timeline. How many times have you wanted to just access another timeline so it's open down here without touching the keyboard? Well, you can do that. I'm opening up the keyboard customization again. That's Command Option K. We're going to search for the command, open in timeline. And the one you want to select is the media pool open in timeline option. The keystroke that I personally use and I think makes sense is Shift Return. And the reason why is return is already the key that will open up a single clip into the source viewer, the left viewer. So Shift Return is pretty similar to open it up just so that it opens up as a timeline down below. I'll hit save, I'll hit close. And so let's say I want to navigate to find a different cut in here. So this is version 15 that's loaded right now. What I'll do first is Command 1, which is going to focus my keys to hit the media pool area over here, the bins basically. So Command 1 will get me there first. And now I can navigate all the folders. Well, where's my timelines? There's my timelines. To get inside the timeline section of it, the contents of it, it's Command 2. So it follows a logical order. It's Command 1 to hit the bins. Command 2 takes you inside the bins. And now I can navigate in here. And if I wanted to load, let's say I want to load the 6th version, this one here, because we have open in timeline set to Shift Return, it opens it up without me having to go double click, navigate. It's very precise when you're using the keyboard, right? And if you wanted to load an individual clip instead, Command 1 gets you back to that bin list. Let's go find some clips. Command 2 gets me inside that list. And as soon as I hit return, that will load that into the source viewer. So either way, clips with return or timelines with Shift Return, I can get to anything without touching the mouse at all. Last but not least is direct trim selection. So this is for those of you craft editors. I recently learned this from a friend, Justin showed this to me, but you've always been able to hit V to select an aesthetic point, and then you could type U or tap U 1, 2, 3 times to change the A side, the B side, or the roll side of things. But that's a lot of steps. In Avid, you could just press a single button. I was wondering, can I do the same here in Resolve? Well, you actually can, and I didn't know this until just now. So here's how it works. Basically, I have it set up so I'm hitting P to go directly to the left side. The left bracket key takes me directly to the middle of the edit, so a rolling edit. And then my right bracket takes me to the right side of the edit. This just makes it much easier if I need to trim a shot down. Maybe I'm going to just trim a couple frames off the head of this. That's how that is done. It's super simple. Let me show you where it is in keyboard customization. So Command Option K, I'm going to search for the word nearest, select nearest, and then here's basically the rules that are set up. So it's in point edit. This is under the select nearest, in edit point, out edit point, and roll edit point. So I've got the right bracket, P, and then the left bracket, and then everything is set up. Hey, thank you so much for sticking with me today. If you're new to the channel, I'm a DaVinci Resolve master trainer. I'm a finishing artist based here in New York, but I teach all those things you're probably not going to find easily in the manual. And because there is so much more to learn, I'll see you in the next video.